Well, guys, I'm not gonna lie. 2023 was, in fact, a year. Some really good things happened, some really bad things happened. But for me personally, this is just kind of another year. This is usually where I complain about the memes from last year, but there's a point, every meme died in like freaking a week. But hey, there's a tradition here that I talk about everything that I see and play that came out last year. So hey, here's that. The one little caveat is, like everything on this list here, I watched like September and beyond because I was too busy doing my Nick watch through to really watch anything new. What? There's this big new grand revolutionary film coming out? I'm sorry, I can't watch that. I need to watch 50 episodes of The Loud House. And with that, and this year being pretty lackluster, there's not much on this list, of course. What the fuck? This year was set to be huge for movies. The pandemic died down. We have the 100th anniversaries of both Disney and Warner Brothers, and we have two big strikes killing us all. It was well deserved. Lots of films. Where should I start? I say this every time I make these. I generally put all these in a hat, and I got FNAF, so this is a pretty mixed film, honestly. It's pretty much what I expected. Not scary in the slightest, but it has a fair amount of references to the games, some great looking animatronics, and some clever takes on the games that can distract from a standard and admittedly kind of stupid story. I'm spoiling this one. I won't for most of these, but if you haven't seen this film, just go on Discord. I'm in like 5 servers where someone posted the entire film. Okay, so Shaggy is William Afton, and he's great. That's part of the film. Why did they wait for the final 10 minutes to reveal this? Like, it was clearly going to be him, the child murderer in FNAF. It's Afton. Not to mention that the first thing that was revealed about this film was that Matthew Lillard was Springtrap. Not only that, he controls the animatronics with this wall, puts a drawing on the wall, and suddenly they all love him. What? Was William just throwing his fan art everywhere? Till oops, he found the magic god wall! He drew himself as friends with animatronics, so they must be actual friends. This is how people think soy jacks work. And the thing is, it is a magic wall? Because the kid throws up an image of Afton being evil, and oops, now he's dead. That's stupid. This film is stupid, but it has MatPat, so I like it. Killers of the Flower Moon is a shoo-in for a good few Oscars. And yeah, it's as great as you'd expect from Puff Daddy. It's very, very long, granted. But yeah, I don't have much to say here besides it's great. Go watch it. That's a vibe of this video. I'll deep dive into FNAF, but for this I'll just say I like it. I saw the trailer for the new Dungeons & Dragons film, and I thought it was set up to be one of the worst films ever made. Like, it took what people think MCU humor is, and they're kind of right, but we'll get to it, and just made it into an entire film. Then I saw a lot of people saying it's genuinely really great, and oh frick, they're right. This is actually really funny, really emotional, all the characters are great, like, it shockingly really works. I never played a single game of D&D in my life, but I kind of really want a sequel to this? What? Yes, I really loved my time with this one. Shockingly, all films should take notes from this. So, Spider-Verse 2 came out. It was kind of a big deal. Yeah, this film overtook Internet for a solid 2 months, and it's well deserved. Probably my film of the year. Obviously, it's beautiful. The characters are some of the best in animation history. Spot is a great villain. Miguel is a great hero antagonist as well. I love Miles and Gwen even more than I already did. Spectacular Spider-Man. They shoved so much into what could have just been a setup for a sequel, and you already know it's a masterpiece. I will say though, unpopular opinion it seems, but I do prefer the first. I mean, a lot comes from we already knew this was going to be peak. We didn't have the absolute blind side the first hit. Plus, while I do love both plots the film has, it does feel slightly disconnected. There's also some minor points like I prefer the original side characters, and I really don't like what they did to Ben Reilly. But hey, they're all returning for Beyond. I'm so ready to get bitten by a spider once more. Spider-Ham is coming back, and they'll probably have Riley again. So I'm so excited for when the film drops in 2043 for us to get the second best film where John Mulaney and Andy Samberg voice 2 silly guys. Indiana Jones 5 is fairly controversial, but listen, it's got what I want from an Indiana Jones film. Sure, it's nowhere near as good as 1 or 3, but really, I got what I wanted. I wanted fun action set pieces and Indy being Indy. I got it. I enjoyed my time. That's all. Napoleon was fine. You know, guys, there's a reason I make 40-minute videos with Phineas and Ferb and not serious biopics. Because what do you want me to say? This is indeed a biopic on Napoleon. I really felt bad for the TMNT thanks to my Nickelodeon watch through. So Mutant Mayhem shot the film I would probably check out when it goes on streaming to my most hyped film of the year. Having seen it, I loved it. More than possibly any other piece of Turtles media, this really captures the feel of the Turtles. The mixture of silliness, coolness, and emotion that got me into these terrapins in the first place, which mostly comes by them getting actual teenagers to voice the 4 characters called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Like, they literally made a fight scene set to specifically the He-Man version of what's going on actually work. What music were they on? I really love this film. I'm not gonna act like it's perfect. It really would have benefited from being longer. Plus, I love the mutants when we see them, but it takes almost half of the film to get to them. And only Mondo and Superfly really do anything. And since Superfly is probably my favorite villain of the year, and Mondo is Silly Goober, I would have loved to see what they do with the other characters. Same with the Turtles too. Leo has a subplot with April, the only time an April and Turtle relationship actually worked at all. And Mikey was the main factor to get the Turtles out of their shells, but Raph and Donnie were largely irrelevant. In fairness though, having only 2 Turtles relevant is basically a mandate for these movies, so I can't pin on this. But you know what? Frick you! I don't think the references are bad. Yes, there's a ton of pop culture references, but that's literally just how teens talk, with these references usually coming out at relevant times. Oh, one last note. This is the single ugliest film I have ever seen in theaters. I mean that in the best way possible. It looks so sketchy and weird, perfectly fitting that grungy indie style mixed with street art. And like, these are mutants. They should be ugly. I'd say I like this animation more than Spider-Verse. 2 somewhat similar franchises, John Wick and The Equalizer, both got what's presumably their final entries this year. Both are solid conclusions. Equalizer 3, for some stupid reason not called Street Equalizer, is just a solid wrap-up with McCall finally getting to settle down after years worth of pain, but having the action you know from the series. And John Wick doing something similar, but with some very unique takes on action, like with its bird eye view, or using a puppy. All the 2 are leading towards John Wick. Both are definitely worth watching if you like action films. Chicken Run was a film I was always kind of shocked never got a sequel, and then this year, it just kind of got one out of the blue. It's good to see these characters again, but also they tend to lift a lot of jokes from the first film into here. I did enjoy the overall vibes though, and the stop motion is great as always, so I still really like it. Why they yassify Miss Tweety though? Nimona was a canceled film from Blue Sky, but Netflix managed to save it, and I'm quite glad they did. Based on a comic by Andy Stevenson, the creator of the 2018 She-Ra, and it's fantastic. Really funny, but also hits a lot of deeper themes that I won't spoil for you in case you haven't seen it, even if it's only the second gayest film Riz Ahmed has been in. I love the combination of modern and medieval tech, and also the main character is a shapeshifter, which is objectively the best ability. I just think every film would be improved if a character was a shapeshifter. Napoleon would be so much better if he randomly became a horse. Yeah, go watch Nimona if you haven't. I'm a huge Blue Sky apologist, and yet I'd still say this film isn't even truly theirs, is their second best. Number 1 is still the one that makes Snoopy a god. Asteroid City is the most Wes Anderson film he's ever made. I like it. It's very meta though, and hard to follow, so I do get why some people don't care for it. And honestly, of the handful of films I've seen from Wes, it is probably my least favorite. But yeah, I'd still really like it. I recommend watching it. So, The Little Mermaid remake bombed. We are healing. I will say though, this is probably one of the better ones. I like their takes on Ariel, Ursula, and Eric. The song is pretty well done. They even fixed one of the big flaws of the original, being if Ariel can write her name, why couldn't she just write a message for Eric? But besides that, like most of the better Disney remakes, it's still so similar to the original, but mostly weaker, raising the question, why not just watch the original instead? I mean, the original doesn't have Aquafina rapping a song called Scuttlebutt, so yeah, that's your answer. I was bored in October, so I decided to watch 2 comedy thrillers back to back. Cocaine Bear and Megan. No, I'm not calling them 3 again. Cocaine Bear was surprisingly really fun. It knows what it is. A dumb heist film that also occasionally has a giant freaking drugged up bear. It somehow got me to care about this group of cannon fodder. Plus it can be genuinely really funny. High as balls bear or not. Megan was not as good though. It feels like a film that thinks it's so much more clever than it actually is. It's a horror comedy that's neither scary or funny. The dance scenes feel like such an out of nowhere forced meme. Yeah, I didn't like this one. Ruby Gillman got a lot of attention pre-release for 2 reasons. One being an appearance slam at Disney with the whole Evil Mermaid thing right around the time the Little Mermaid trailer dropped, and people shipping Ruby and Chelsea. Then it came out and the film bombed. I assume it's because Little Mermaid is already a month old at this point, so it's not topical. As for shipping Ruby and Chelsea,
you need to grow up!
Grow up? I'm 38 years old!
But hey, how's the film? Don't know how popular this opinion is, but I kinda didn't like it. Sans some good animation, and a few funny scenes with the captain, I just felt like this was the most paint-by-numbers kid film I've ever seen. The poster and trailer advertised a much more interesting film than what we actually got. You see all those mermaids in the poster ready to fight the Krakens? Yeah, there's literally only 1 mermaid in the entire film. Actually, the plot of a teenage girl realizing they're actually capable of turning into a giant creature, just like the female members of their family, as they try to maneuver through awkward teenage years, is a lot like Turning Red. And while I didn't love that film, honestly, it's so much better. Just watch that instead. Guys, I gotta be honest. You're gonna hate me for dropping these sick truths, but it's gotta be said. I think the Spy Kids movies are going downhill. The original trilogy is great for just completely being bonkers insane. But here, the effects are too good. Where's the thumb, people? Without the funny, it's just a meh whatever kids film. It needs more Mr. Electric. Which depresses me, man. I was still hoping that, despite everyone's initial skepticism, this film would stick the landing, and it just doesn't. There's a few decent songs, but besides that, I didn't laugh once. The story isn't gripping. Magnifico has the blueprints for a good villain, but never came through, and all the other characters are forgettable. This falls flat, and that's sad. It sucks because, again, the blueprints are here, and the concept art looks so good. I love the idea of the star being a love interest for Asha, especially since when you look at it, we haven't had a true romance-based Disney film since Tangled. Even if this is definitely made by someone who shipped Jack and Elsa. I hate to say it, but skip it. WB decided to be extra scummy the last couple of years by canceling several projects, but decided to not be total Hitlers and shop a few to other services. One of those was Merry Little Batman. This is a really strange and goofy movie, but I liked it. It gives big Chowder energy with the animation. Yeah, it's fun and shockingly wholesome with Batman and Robin's relationship. Whoever decided to cast the voice of Fanboy as Joker deserves a raise. Redfield was a good time. Nicolas Cage's Dracula certainly hits the funny you want. And the action's really good. The problem is this is an allegory for toxic friends, and while certainly not a bad idea, it's super blatant. They literally call it supposed to symbolize a toxic friendship several times, and not in a clever way that would make sense since this is a comedy. I still like this film, but I wish the movie with Nicolas Cage as Dracula was more subtle. Remember that Haunted Mansion film that came out this year? You don't, because no one saw it. Literally, my mom and I were the only people in the theater when we saw it. I really like this film though. The weakest of the Haunted Mansion trilogy, which I guess exists now. But it's a fun time that has some legitimately scary moments for a kid's film, along with some pretty good performances. In the end, despite how spooky the ghosts are, the film has a powerful message that sometimes there's something even scarier than ghosts and ghouls. Jared Leto. So, after, oh god, how long has it been since Mario movie was announced? I remember first hearing about Illumination making this back in high school. Now here I am, a college graduate, finally watching it. And as a film, it's kind of standard. Very predictable and safe. As a Mario fan, oh my god, they had all the music and amazing remixed it all, and there was this awesome long take shot with the game, and the Mario Kart standard, and Jack Black, and Funky Kong! Listen, there's a lot you can tear apart with this film. The racing segment is pointless. Heck, Donkey Kong Fight is pointless. Heck, Donkey Kong's entire arc is pointless. Since it comes out of nowhere, it gets solved in like one sentence. Like Mutant Mayhem, this really would have benefited from being longer. And I do think me liking the franchise is the only reason I like this film as much as I do. Unlike TMNT, which is just a genuinely good movie. But King Bob-omb on screen makes me happy. I am so glad that one film made everyone like Illumination. I do think the sequel to this has the potential to be genuinely amazing. Potentially with more story and less fan service. But with that said, Luma appears in this film, Yoshi is confirmed and he's going to be a baby based on the end credits. Probably going to likely show up sooner or later. There seems to be a strong focus on family coming up. So that leads to Barbenheimer. The only time two films ever been released on the same day, apparently. Hey, Indiana Jones, Nimona, and Ruby Gilman are released on the same day. Where's the love for Ramona Jones? Anyways, a group of friends asked me to do a movie night for my birthday, and I choose Barbie. Because what else would a 24-year-old want to watch? But no, this is pretty peak. It's very blatant on its themes, but unlike Renfield, this film is so over the top and ridiculous that I think it works with the whole aesthetic. Barbie herself is a really fun, shockingly complex character for, well, Barbie. But Ryan Gosling really steals the show as Ken. Yeah, this film has a vibe no other really has, and it's more warranted of all its high praise. Despite that though, I'm an entitled film slob, and I prefer Oppenheimer. It's genuinely really impressive how Nolan can make a 3-hour-long film about people just talking genuinely really engaging. Its inevitable multiple Oscars is deserved. Oppie's struggle is portrayed perfectly, they put just enough screen time on the bomb itself. Yeah, again, it deserves all of its praise. It's a little weird they didn't include the scene from Oppenheimer's life where he rap battled Thanos, but it's a really major history change. I hope the sequel rectifies that. Rise of the Beast is both really great and really disappointing. It did the 3 things I wanted from the Transformers movies. Beastimals, Unicron, and not making me want to gouge my eyes out. When I bet that down about how little the Beastimals appear, I think the Rhino has like one line, but when they do appear, they're great. When Transformers appear, they're great. And honestly, I had so much fun that I looked past some of the lower points. I should really get into more Transformers as a series, but for now, this is a fun watch. This is a safe space, right? My favorite film of the year is Leo. Listen, Obviously, Spider-Verse is an objectively better film, but I don't know. This was just the film I needed. I cried twice at the funny Adam Sandler Lizard movie. There's 2 of the only 3 times I cried at a film this year. It's funny too, and the animation is really striking. No other film has these children, so yeah, go watch it. Elemental was a film everyone just freaking hated for some reason upon reveal to release. Now it's out, the hate was unwarranted. I mean, it's no masterpiece. For a film heavily marketed on romance, it's more focused on the family drama between Ember and her dad. But it's not so bad, so I'll live. I think it would have worked better as a show or something. The world is really underutilized with the different elements and how they interact potentially being a cool idea. We just don't get to see much of it. But it was cute. I'd watch the sequel. As long as it has Claude. Claude, my god. Claude the race god. My 3 favorite films this year run the full gambit. You got Small Lizard, you got Medium-Sized Lizard, and now we get Big Lizard. Yeah, Godzilla -1 is kind of peak. The mark of a good monster movie is having you say, yeah, go destroy everything, whenever the monster appears. The mark of an amazing monster movie is when you say, yeah, destroy everything. But you know, spare these guys, I like these guys. And this does that flawlessly. Because I was really rooting for this family to make it. Godzilla is the poster boy of series everyone knows the basics of, but no one really dived into the deep lore. And I'm so glad that this did so well and made more Godzilla fans. I'm so proud of my boy. And to end this all off, oh Marvel, how the mighty fall. And DC, how the mighty never even make it up the first step. With a declining interest in the MCU after Endgame and DC films being rebooted soon, it kind of left these films floundering. Marvel had it better. I mean, okay, Quantumania, pretty stinky. Not the smartest idea to introduce your big main villain who can erase entire multiverses and have them lose a freaking Ant-Man the first film he's in. Not the smartest idea to go against what makes Ant-Man films fun with their, I'm sorry for this one, smaller scale, and instead have it be this big, grand cosmic adventure. Not smart to do this. Guardians 3 though, actually pretty peak. Self-contained stories are really what the MCU needs, and it's still really funny. Has the best CGI in the entire MCU, made me cry over a raccoon several times. At least top 5 MCU films, fighting the other Guardians movies. Then there's the Marvels. Hot take? I really like this film. Well, half of it at least. First half is great, the interaction between the 3 are great, and the one fight scene where they keep changing positions is genuinely up there for best fight scene in Marvel. Then the film goes on and it just kind of becomes a standard Marvel film, where they have to fight the bad guy in the giant army. It's the Shang-Chi effect. Still though, I genuinely love the first half so much, and the second half isn't that bad, so yeah, I still liked it. Definitely not warranting all the backlash it got. Speaking of warranted backlash though, whatever garbage DC spat out, I loved the first Shazam, so I was so excited for the sequel. It's bad. The best part about the first film was the contrast between Billy and Shazam. Billy being this sad, abandoned kid who can finally let himself free and express himself when he becomes Shazam. The contrast isn't there, and thus it doesn't work as well. Like Ant-Man, they took a smaller scale film and made it about gods and monsters and big world-ending things. I guess that's definitely more fitting for Shazam, but it's not what made the first film great. It's the smaller, more personal moments, which this doesn't have, leading it to be a really hollow experience. Speaking of hollow experiences, The Flash! Okay, let's ignore the elephant in the room, talk about the film on its own. It was really hard to do because I genuinely forgot everything about it the second I was done. It was an absolute nothing of a movie. I liked Keaton. That's the only good part about it. Flash 2 was annoying. The scenes with all the other characters from different DC properties, where almost everyone is a dead actor, and the living ones didn't even hire and just CG'd them, might be the lowest Hollywood has ever stooped. It must be extremely depressing to be a Flash fan. Imagine having one of the most iconic characters in history. It takes the better part of a century to get a full movie. Studios care so little about the title of character that all the marketing is on a completely different person. The film is nothing genuinely. It's the worst film I've seen this year. Is that partially because of Bitter, because they murdered CN in cold blood while letting this go through? Yes. Almost entirely, in fact. But hey, Blue Beetle was a step in the right direction. The direction is a clip because of the reboot. But hey, despite the kind of standard origin plot, I still enjoyed it. And I kind of hope to see Blue Beetle in the reboot universe. Had that comic wackiness I wanted, I like. Oh, and I saw Aquaman. It was Aquaman, alright. The trailers had Black Manta say every variant of, I'm going to kill your family. Yet he never actually killed the baby. What a ripoff! Yeah, so maybe wiping this film from Earth isn't a bad thing. Just keep the octopus. I like the octopus. He's a homie. 2022 was big for anime. There was a lot of big new series and anticipated new seasons. 2023, for what I've seen at least, wasn't as hype. I feel the only new show anyone really cared about this year was Scott Pilgrim, and some didn't even consider that an anime, because apparently anime can't be stylized now. It's really great though. I know that people don't like that Scott is so downplayed, but you know, I'm just kind of changing things up on his 4th adaptation. With that said, I'll talk more about it when I make a video on anime based on Western media, which is definitely happening, guys. I know we've been talking about this for 2 years. I'm sorry! Moving on, I'm realizing anime is always the part of these videos that I have the least to say on, and I'm just apologizing now. Skip to Loafer. Really cute slice of life. I like the bright and almost rounded look. Not super standout compared to the shocking many slice of life romances I've seen, but I like it. Oshinoku. Shockingly not talked about a lot despite being from the same person as Kaguya-sama. I think it starts really good with the whole angle of the kid reincarnating and trying to figure out his life and what happened to him, but I'm not the biggest fan of sudden change to being pop idols. I'm still on board though. I'll see how it goes. Just maybe don't stick too close to the manga. Please. Pluto is a darker take on Astro Boy, which I didn't know getting into it. I just saw it pop up on Netflix and I needed something to watch. My only experience with Astro is this awful CGI movie, but I ended up really liking this. It's about the divide between humans and robots, and it's really well done, especially how they blend the darker and lighter parts of the show. Also, this guy is voiced by Keith David. This feels weird whenever I hear more notable actors in anime, but no, I highly recommend this. Heavy Delusion is my other favorite this year, about 2 kids trying to maneuver through a post-apocalypse. I'll leave it there for spoiler reasons, but again, I recommend it a lot. Insomniacs After School was fine, and another slice of life. It's cute, not as good as others I mentioned. Tomo-chan is a Girl is another slice of life romance. Again, I don't know how I stumbled into this being my main focus in terms of anime. Like this more than most of the slice of life this year. Just something about Tomo trying to explain to this absolute buffoon that she is, in fact, woman. I don't know, it's cute. Also, main character has a fang. I like it. Oh yeah, in one episode, there's a scene where someone was trying to explain why they had an overreaction. I want you to guess what sound effect they used for it. Arrgh, SpongeBob me boy! We need to convince this guy I'm a woman me boy! Apothecary Diaries is split for me. I do like the main character and the world, but all attempts at humor fall flat. Still, the good outweighs the bad, so I'd recommend A Diary of an Apothecary Kid. Finally, for new series, Love Story with Yamada-kun at level 99 is the most unrealistic anime I've ever seen, because it's all about a gamer finding a girl who fawns over him. And we all know gamers don't get love. Actually, this guy was giving me strong Airways vibes considering how uninterested he was in the main character's advances. I was kind of hoping for him to reject her, to be honest. I mean, it's cute, but there's better. I will soon watch every 1 season of romance anime, and I shall become all-powerful! So moving on to new seasons. Again, these are weirdly ignored, but I like a lot of these. Jujutsu Kaisen and Spy X Family are shows I covered in my top 35 anime video. Nothing new to add to these new seasons, just watch that, give me more views, feed the algorithm. Demon Slayer's newest season really worked for me. Despite not being the biggest fan of the first couple seasons, I no longer want to strangle Zenitsu, guys, we did it! I can't really pinpoint why I like this season more though. Maybe Stockholm Syndrome. Then we have 2 shows I haven't seen until this year that both happen to get new seasons. Vinland Saga is a very great story about a kid named after my favorite 2 blonde boys trying to find the promised land, with this season really having him realize he needs to make his own. And Ancient Magus Bride is about a woman taken by a monster creature and trying to adapt to being his new wife in this foreign magic world. And both are really good. Guys, you don't get it. I'm being vague so I can talk about these more in depth when I make Top 35 Anime Part 2. It's definitely not because I suck at writing. And then ending it off with Attack on Titan. The show is done. There will be no more extensions. Oh my god, I have been waiting to say that since I made the first of these big year recaps. I haven't mixed on the first couple parts of Season 4, but I think that, now that everything's laid out, I think it comes together, with them blending the weirdness of Season 4 with the older feel of the first 3 seasons. Okay, yeah, no, this is definitely Stockholm. It's kind of sad how little fanfare the season got, since you could argue this was the show that finally broke the barrier of anime being seen as just for weirdos. Which, like, it is, but still. I enjoyed this season, but also, throw this onto the list of things I'll eventually make a video about. So, animation continues to be mistreated. Yeah, I don't know if the animation strike is going to happen or not, but with it pretty consistently getting the short end of the stick every time a company decides to be awful, it's only a matter of time. What we got this year, though, is actually pretty good. Disney made 3 new shows this year, with like a critical acclaim that people act like got completely ignored, and who they actually were completely ignored. Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur deserves all of its praise, though. Everything you could want in a show is here, which is shocking, seeing it's only 19 episodes so far. The animation is among the best I've seen in any cartoon. It's hard to do simplistic designs that are also really expressive, but this nails it. The fight scenes are just absolutely fantastic. Some of the most fluid animation I've ever seen. Every one of them brings something new to the table. It's done by the same studio as Rise of TMNT, and you can definitely tell. And also there's songs, sometimes sung by the characters, other times it's a radio song that's remixed in some way. And either way, it's fantastic. Easily my favorite cartoon of the year. My only problem being that it's outside of 3 episodes. Devil is basically useless outside of just appearing for fights. But hey, only 1 season. I'm sure he'll appear more later. Actually, wait, one more problem. It had my least favorite trope of all time. Lunella joins social media and instantly becomes a star. I hate how this is literally the only plot that ever happens with YouTube and media. I can accept superpowers, but not getting a million subs after 1 video. Why can't that be me? After that, we got Kif. It's a pretty fun show. I like the animal world they have and how they work in magic and modern architecture. And in general, it's just another cute fun show. Gives heavy 2000s CN vibes, and this one also has songs. More of the standard songs you expect from these type of shows, but I like them. Yeah, not much to say here. It's cute. Sorry getting a lot of focus from Disney. I assume it's going to be the next Big City Greens, where no one talks about it, but it does super well. That leads to Haley's on it. Yeah, this is where they lose me. This isn't bad, but it's very unfocused. Does it want to focus on this big list that Haley needs to do before the world ends, or do they want to just ignore it? Also, there's song. Okay, when Ghost Molly McGee did it, it was great. When Hamps did it, it was fine since it came from Dan Pavmeyer. Moon Girl did it differently. Kif was at least catchy. None of these songs stuck with me, which is sad because since Haley is voiced by Avali Gravallo, the voice of Moana, it's not memorable and looks like it is animated in bit strips. Maybe season 2 can blow me away like it did with Owl House and Amphibia, but for now, it's eh. I'm gonna start my big Netflix watch through soon, which will include Big Mouth. Everyone who's ever told this will always ask me if I'm gonna watch Big Mouth before I even finish the question. Guys, I watched 150 Alatos episodes. Do not question what I will do for a video. Anyways, I decided to watch some things that came out this year. Like Scott Pilgrim again, but also the new King Kong show. It is, in fact, a show with King Kong. It follows basically the same beats of the 2017 film, but with different people. I don't know, I like seeing more of the creatures here. Besides that, it's fine. I just like the big monkey. There's also Captain Laserhawk. Apparently, Ubisoft realized we're about to go a full year without Netflix making another animated show from a controversial game company focused on post-apocalyptic cyberpunk wasteland. And we got this. This is a fanfic. There's good parts, like everything with Rayman and Bullfrog. I love those two, that they carried the show. I also love Jade, but she's not in there for long. The problem is the main character is an actual plank of wood. Actually, no, that's an insult to planks of wood. Every time this guy is on screen, I go to bed. Also, they took from the Star Versus handbook of having an allegory for discrimination, where the privileged race are just normal humans, while the discriminated race are alien animal monsters. Yeah, great idea. It's pretty stupid, but I like the stuff with Rayman and Bullfrog, so I recommend it. Carol at the End of the World might be the most depressing look at the end of the world. How does Earth react to its impending doom? Simple. It doesn't. Life just happens. It's not spectacular or fun. The show is really good and really short, so if you can stomach a shockingly large amount of naked old people, I recommend it. Kind of split on that this counts, but they finally localized Villainous. I watched some of the episodes subbed before, but hey, glad they're more widely available. Wish they updated some of the text, heck even the title's still in Spanish, but glad it's here. Hope they can translate more. Cartoon Network was set up to really go guns blazing this year. 2 big new shows set up to release this year. Then they changed last second to Adult Swim despite being perfectly fine for seeing audience. Cartoon Network is dead, man. But hey, the Corps did produce 2 pretty good shows. Unicorn Warriors Eternal is the newest show from Genndy Tartakovsky. And while I think it's my least favorite of his work, I still like it. The best part is the animation. A really beautiful mix of classic ink block designs and a more anime look. The story though is weirdly paced with a lot of explaining and dropping major plot parts randomly before just ending. I still like it though, so yeah, go watch it. The other one is My Avengers of Superman. When this released, people were so hyped. Saying it was the first project to understand Superman in years, praising us finally getting something more lighthearted, and being so down bad for the newest Lois. Then that scene of Lois getting mad that Clark hid his identity from her happened. I heard nothing but complaints, until it just kind of fizzled out. I enjoyed it regardless though. It's a really fun series that truly understands what Superman is. Lois is also a lot of fun. And no, I don't care about her being upset about the identity reveal. It's solved quickly, and it's a fairly realistic reaction. The one complaint I do have though is the villain redesigns. While Superman's super accurate, they take a lot of the villains into really different directions, and most are fine. Mix is a lot of fun, for example, but a lot of them are just kind of bland, like Brainiac being a clear example. This is nothing like comic Brainiac, but is like a million other generic evil robot characters. With that said, while Moon Girl is a better show, this show has a more realistic take on social media. Jimmy's friends constantly lie to him, saying they'll watch his stuff, and even though they never do, and also even though that's the only thing he ever truly asked for them. See? That's how you do it. I love being represented. None of my friends receive the pearly gates. You know, actually, with AD making some of the stupidest decisions possible, Maps did do some good originals. Besides Velma. Yeah, remember that? Watch my Hanna-Barbera video for more information on it. It's one of my best. The big one is definitely Fiona and Cake. It feels weird to say we have an official adult Adventure Time series, but this made the transition from Finn staying mathematical and flippin' gibbles to surprisingly well. I'm so glad they dove into Simon and Betty. That was the biggest thing they didn't touch on in the finale when Distant Lands rolled in, but so I'm so happy to see it done well this time. I always loved Simon, but genuinely, he might be one of the best written characters I've ever seen. And that's from this guy. The themes of Moving On are really well done, multiple worlds are really distinct. Yeah, this is a great return for the series. And I'm especially glad that after people kind of ignore Distant Lands for some reason, you shouldn't, it's really good. This finally shot Adventure Time back to its massive popularity. I've been waiting ever since I finally gave this show a shot. But dear God, do not watch this if you haven't seen the whole show and Distant Lands. You will be confused by Choose Goose is suddenly Satan. Tiny Toons University is based off of the original Tiny Toons series, which I admittedly haven't seen. Despite that, I really enjoyed this series. It's just really cute. They use the old Looney Tunes characters super well. Even I'm tired of Granny's literal only joke in anything since 2011 because she's super hip and radical. Yeah, that's really just it. It's just a nice, cozy little show to watch laugh with. Fired on Mars is a show no one knows, but it's one of the rare adult cartoons that's neither action or comedy. Instead, it's about a guy who, well, got fired working on Mars. It's a shockingly emotional and pretty depressing show that, despite the state-mandated limited animation every adult cartoon has, is one I'd highly recommend. On a very similar note, Scavenger's Reign is another dramatic show, particularly focused on action. It gives me similar vibes to Samurai Jack, with it being fairly silent for the most part, at least until the final episode. The world is really well developed, the action is great, Barry is a precious being who must be protected at all costs, and again, extremely highly recommended. Then, I can't believe I'm actually talking about this, Gremlins Secret of the Mogwai. This freaking show has been said to come out since 2019, but now, finally, in the year of our Lord 2023, I can say there's new Gremlins content. I've waited so long for this day. Me, the man named after Gremlins, I can finally achieve peace. So yeah, the show's pretty baller. Really good backstory in Gizmo. Brings a great mix of humor and horror the films have. The animation is really unique and striking. I'm so glad it's out. I'll definitely talk about it more on some random Halloween. When I run out of ideas to do a full Gremlins retrospective, I mentioned it was Disney's 100th anniversary. And while it was mostly pretty Once Upon a Studio was really great. It had a lot of cute interactions that reminded me a lot of House of Mouse. And I love they were able to perfectly blend 2D and 3D animation. There's clearly a lot of love put into this short, which could have just been made super cynically. I'm so glad. Chicken Little Bros, we won. And that leads us to the new seasons of stuff. Animaniacs reboot ended this year. It's kind of sad to see the decline of popularity for this show. Season 1 was everywhere. I saw so many memes and discussions about it. Season 2 had significantly less, and I saw nothing about this one. Which is sad, since I think the season has constantly improved, with this definitely being the best. They finally found what they wanted to do with these characters. A nice medium between their own thing and referencing the old show. Some actually pretty funny bits. Heck, they finally acknowledged that there are more characters besides the triplets and mice. Then they killed everyone and we'll never see them again. Great! Dragon Prince will definitely make my Netflix video. But for now, I'm kind of mixed on the newest season. It's mostly pretty good, story's progressing nicely. I love the relationship between the main two, but it feels like every season they ruin Claudia more and more. Just sad since she was my favorite character in the show. But yeah, I still like it. Invincible Season 2 was split in half like Iron Man did with the Guardians. I'll save my thoughts for it next year when we get the second half, but I really love what they're setting up with this and the Adam Eve special. I'm dancing around a lot, just watch the show, it's super poggers, but also, shut up about Amber. There's more scenes in this show than just that. So I didn't watch Clone High until now, actually. I knew about it since some assorted memes in the YouTube poop days, and of course it's meme arrival way back in 2020, but I never saw it. Now I have. Yeah, I can certainly see why this is a cult classic. The show is absolutely hilarious. I say was because that surge in popularity back in 2020 was enough to finally give us a season 2. And, yeah, I'm sorry guys, I'm not a fan. The original was a parody of various teen drama tropes. This decides to become what the original was parodying. Many of the stories in season 2 was what season 1 was mocking. It also majorly increases the gore in the season. There's only one scene in the original that was particularly bloody, and it made it a lot funnier. When you do it so often, it loses its charm. In general, This is not what I wanted from the show. It lost a lot of its historical jokes. There's like no reason these guys should be historical figures anymore. And of course, it's missing a certain beloved character. Ponce de Leon. The show isn't the same without him. Oh, and Gandhi too. Now listen, I fully understand why he's gone, but he was my favorite character in the show. And there's a giant gap without him. I do like his 2 cameos though. They were really funny. Bro's not even in this season and he's still the best character. Actually, I do like the new ones. And yeah, they're not super accurate, they're real people. But I never noticed this was Joan of Arc if you didn't tell me, so I really do think season 3 can fix a lot of the wrongs of this season. And it's nowhere near the worst thing I've seen, but it's not for me. Till the end of this year. And I could talk about it, but like, I've said several times, this is probably my favorite cartoon without ever diving into it. A full video is inevitable. Let's keep some suspense. Shall we? Then, that leads us to Disney. They've made a lot of new seasons for their shows, most of which ended this year, because of course. I don't have much to say about the new seasons of Big City Greens and Hamster and Gretel. Just watch my top 35 Disney shows video from a bit. My thoughts still hold up. I talked about Bad Batch in my Star Wars video, but when I was making it, season 2 wasn't done. Now it's an improvement, but it still hits the same flaws the first season had. It's still very formulaic, but I do like the times they don't have the Bad Batch in it. And then it feels a lot more like Clone Wars. It's the Boba Fett effect. I still liked it, but it's not super amazing still. A lot of big anniversaries happened this year. I celebrated a few of them, but one that I missed was the Paul Rudish Mickey Mouse shorts. I love these shorts. Easily the best Mickey has ever been. They're funny, they're visually striking, take the personalities we know from these characters and expand on them. They're great. Sadly, they came to an end this year with one final short made for the anniversary of Disney's 100, Steamboat Silly, about modern Mickey encountering the Steamboat Willie version. I'm happy that I acknowledge that original Mickey was kind of a little rat gremlin, who lives to cause chaos and destruction. Most people tend to forget that thanks to the more sanitized version Disney uses now. So I'm glad they had the 2 Mickeys meet and show the differences. Also, Pete appears. He does nothing, but I like him. Who knows? I might make a full video on this series, or all of Mickey's appearances like I did with Hanna-Barbera. But for now, this is a really fun ending to one of the best things Disney has done in recent memory. Then there's one of the biggest surprises. Ghost and Molly McGee Season 2. I like the first season quite a bit, but this absolutely blew it out of the water. Here's another reason Haley's on it is so underwhelming. This show does a half-serialized, half-episodic musical much better, really diving more into the more serious topics you'd expect from a Disney show, while also having the characters still be the goofy selves. It's still mostly pretty grounded, but they finally dive more into the ghost world, now that Scratch is the ruler of it, and introduce a ghost hunting family. The son ends up swapping sides and dates Molly. Reminder that the fandom is only a thing because of people shitting Molly with Libby and Andrea. Oh, so okay, that explains why no one can talk about this season. Hey, look at it this way. Libby shippers, we won. So yeah, no, the season was great. It made me really excited for the next season. Oh. But then, of course, the final 2 episodes of Owl House. Spoilers. This show is way too important to me to not get a video eventually. But now, season 2 episode 3 is... not super good. Guys, we only have 2 episodes left. Let's focus on some random throwaway villains for the majority of it. Listen, I get we need something for Luz to do for a big confrontation. But like, really? Kikimora? That's the best we can do? It does give Willow a good moment though. And this episode in general, I do give a pass, because I really like the King, Collector, and Bellow stuff. The finale, really great. If you could understand that they did the best with what they had. Yeah, obviously, season 3 was kneecapped hard by Disney shortening it, but I did like most of it. My only wish would be simply, wish it was longer. Wish we had more time with Collector playing games. Wish we had more time with the Hexside crew helping out. Wish we had more time with the flash forward scene. Wish Hootie was an actual part of the story at all. Wish I confirmed Lilith was Arrow Ace on screen, you cowards! But, like, I love what they did with the Collector. I mean, obviously. Bellows really proved how deadly of a villain he is. Payne Luz is just the coolest design ever. King fully becomes his own character. I'm glad he isn't pure comic relief like people make him out to be. Despite it all, it's still a fantastic ending to a fantastic show. But why did they give us this epic fight scene with Luz finally achieving her dream, the villain becoming the very world they live in, when they could have given us more Kikimora? So we've gone to live action shows, I can finally say that. There is stuff on here that's not Marvel and Star Wars! I did it! I finally watched actual shows! I can actually watch shows that aren't for dumb nerds! I mean, most of the stuff is still for dumb nerd stuff, but like, I did it! There are shows that aren't freaking mid! I did it! I'm cool! I'm epic! And okay, let's go on. I'll start with the non-Disney Plus stuff. Like a good few other things here. Good Omen could be released before this year, but I've watched it for the first time alongside its new season. I liked this first season a lot, building up how this world works, history of this angel and demon, and how this kid was supposed to be the Antichrist but didn't want to be. Season 2 isn't as good, but I still like it, with it focusing more on the relationship between the two and the war between the realms that's approaching. Feels more like setup for season 3 than its own thing, but I liked it. Really glad someone made the most Tumblr core show of all time. Like, genuinely, this feels like a Tumblr checklist. Guys, I'm really happy to tell you, I finally finished One Piece. The live action show! Yeah, so I actually read a bit of the manga, and this happens to cover most of what I read. They finally realized how to adapt anime. Change nothing, even the goofiest things. But yeah, I like it. Again, they really stuck true to the original series, and the actors are perfect for these characters. Especially Buggy. Bro is a whatever villain from what I read, but from here, absolute show stealer. Even when he's a Goomba. And that's it. That's the cool stuff. Time for mid. I can't think of anything that has had such a massive change in popularity than The Mandalorian. First season completely overtook the world and gave people a lot of hope for the franchise. And also Green Minion for people under 30. Season 2 was the same. Season 3 though? Absolutely no one talked about it. Genuinely, heard more people discussing it by comparing it to the first season of The Last of Us show than acknowledging that it got a new season. A complete and sudden turnaround. I assume the hype just wasn't there after 3 years. The season itself being kind of whatever probably didn't hurt either. Again, nowhere near the worst thing I've seen, but it's very unfocused compared to the first two. It's kind of sad that Book of Boba understood Mando more than this did. You know you fricked up with something with Jack Black is considered your worst episode. Also, I'm really tired of the cameos to old movies and shows. And Mando as a character is losing me, and yeah, this is just a disappointment. Ahsoka, I think, has some good ideas, notably everything with Ezra and Sabine. These guys work really well together, and some of the few animated characters translated greatly to live action. Ahsoka herself is boring. How do you make me not care about one of my favorite characters? Same with Thrawn. I love that they brought back the actor from Rebels, but he does nothing. I do like these villains though, even if they probably won't do much anymore due to the unfortunate passing of Ray Stevenson. Just watch Clone Wars, you cowards. I don't care if it's animated. It's peak fiction. It literally has Hondo Ohnaka. I already talked about the downfall of MCU, but I think the shows are the biggest offender of it. We've gotten way too much, most of which feel like more like a setup than being its own thing. I will say though, Loki Season 2, not as good as the first, but I still loved. Again, pretty unfocused, but I still love Loki himself. The time traveling plot is fun. It actually works with the multiverse plot instead of just being a gimmick. I like it. Needs for gators though, but hey, it's good. It does not mark the downfall of the MCU. Secret Invasion marks the downfall of the MCU. Every bad part of the other shows are here. The villains are too sympathetic, so let's just randomly have them be murderers. There's the first cool Skrull tryst, and then every other one gets worse and worse. Heck, the Skrulls don't even matter, which is the worst thing you would say about a Secret Invasion story. Oh, and of course, Rhodey. There was a theory he was a Skrull, but it was just that, a theory. Thanks for watching. Now it's real. Well, that definitely doesn't ruin a good chunk of his scenes from previous movies. Sometimes a theory should just remain a theory. There's a reason no one is campaigning to see SpongeBob dying in toxic waste. Yeah, this is bad. It says a lot that the Marvels came out right after, and he completely ignored it. The best part of when a Skrull came on screen shaped it into a better show. Guys, I have something sad I need to tell you. I have not been Epic Gamer this year. I have only played 3 new games this entire year due to focusing on non-game projects and also my backlog. I can do better. I will be better. But anyways, let's not dwell on that. Let's talk about Tears of the Kingdom. The biggest game ever. The sequel to the internet's darling. A fantastic game. A game I'm like 5% into and plan to progress further. Yeah. Listen, it's great. Even now, I can see that it's clearly much better than Breath of the Wild, even with being so early into it. But not only did I constantly get sidetracked with other things in my life, but a normal gaming session of this game for me is to progress a bit, get into a part I don't understand, frick around for 30 minutes trying to solve a simple task, fail horribly, steadily go to a walkthrough, realize I'm an idiot, complete the task, then step forward 5 steps and repeat the process. Objectively fantastic game, I'm just an idiot. I 100%ed Mario Wonder though. It's my favorite game by default. Not a bad game to give that award though. I love the new series of games, but this truly is a shot of adrenaline that's needed. Every level has a fun gimmick, and I'm always happy to replay whenever I miss something. Yeah, the bosses are lame, but the final boss is so peak it makes up for it. The new power-ups are extremely versatile, and all among my favorites now. Especially the elephant, which is not weird, you are the problem. I really hope this game gets DLC, and Nintendo, if you need ideas for said DLC, I have ideas. I picked 4 for Christmas, not far enough to comment on it, but I like it. I want to see more of the homophobic green thing. I also got Mario RPG for Christmas too. I haven't played it yet, but I like the original, so it's probably good. Next year, I promise to get at least 50% through at least 2 games, I promise. Despite what I said at the start of the video, this was actually a pretty big year. There's a lot of good stuff that came out this year, as you could tell. It's also a big year for me personally. Mostly not for the best reasons, losing a dog, cutting off a toxic friend, stuff that's too serious for being able to deep dive into Cocaine Bear. There's also a pretty big year for this channel. Not in terms of growth, of course. I have this running gag where I'm going to hit 1,000 subs in 2040. I don't think that's a joke anymore. Like, I only gained like 200 subs this entire year. But no, in terms of what I'm actually doing, I think there's a massive improvement. Not only did I start a podcast with my friend Robin, and a versus series with my friend Aqua, but the videos I have made, I'm extremely proud of. This year focused on longer videos that had a variety of topics. I feel like I was more analytical and just overall solid than before. Yeah, only 5 people watch them, but as you know, I'm happy even just 5 people target me long enough to hear me drone on about Hanna-Barbera or Disney or whatever else. I made a now outdated list of my favorite videos back in 2022, so to fix that, at the end of every year, I'm gonna make a playlist of my top 15 favorite videos this year. The video listed first is my favorite in descending order, and it's linked in the description. Despite my life's ups and downs, this stupid chili channel has really helped a lot with my life, and I'm really thankful for anyone who watches or comments on these videos. Even if it's not that many people, I still really appreciate it. And I know that you guys have helped me make 2024 a great year, because trust me, I got a lot planned. But you can't help me as much as Craven, baby! Victories can't come soon enough! Craven, 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 Craven,